the Morning Star, the incredible William Huckaby. And want to let all you people know that you can find this podcast and so many other great podcasts on AngryMarks.com. Go on iTunes and download us. Or you can go to our awesome website at Weebly.com. Check out some of our past shows. Check out some of our past guests. With that being said, tonight I got a really, really cool show for you guys tonight. I got a couple of friends of mine, a couple of guys who are really cool, have a lot to say. Both of them have really great stories. Tonight we're going to have the Blackwail, Joe Black, and second-generation wrestler, Colby Corino. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line right now, we have the current reigning and defending NWA Mid-Atlantic Junior Heavyweight Champions, one half of the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Championship team, one half of the Superior Championship Wrestling Tag Team Championship, and soon to be one half of the Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment Tag Team Champions. The Killerweight, the Black Cloud, Joe Black. What's going on, Joe? How you doing, man?
Well, that was one riveting introduction. It makes me feel more important than I'm pretty sure I am in the minds of a lot of people. But thank you. I'm doing good. I really do appreciate that. That was almost poetic.
Hey, man, well, you know, if I don't put you over, like I told you before, man, if I don't put you over, who else is going to put you over? You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
I mean, I got to make, and of course, you know, I mean, you're doing a whole lot right now, man. And of course, I know, and after this interview and stuff, a lot of other people are going to know everything that you're up to and how important and how big of a deal you actually are. But for all of our listeners, for all of our fans who are not familiar with Joe Black right now, give us a little background of why you got into wrestling, who inspired you, and where you trained at.
I got into wrestling because one of my earliest memories, and it's been lovingly documented on video for, people throughout history to see one day, was a 4-year-old me sitting at the table watching Survivor Series 91 when Taker beat Hogan for the World Championship with the assist from Ric Flair. And, of course, at the time, I was, the biggest Hulkamaniac in the world for whatever reason. I mean, I love Macho Man, too. All the colorful guys, as my grandfather called them. And I was so horrified by that turn of events, that a hero could fall, that I ran straight to my room crying, bawling my eyes out, because I really thought, in my words on the video, that the devil just took Hulk Hogan's soul, because his soul to me was his championship belt. So I vowed that one day I would exact vengeance for Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which I guess in a way I did. Maybe I helped to win the Gawker case and get $115 million. I don't know how the universe works. Anyway, that was the reason why I started wrestling, was, as funny as it sounds, was to have Hulk Hogan's back one day when I got bigger. As far as who inspired me, it starts with Taker. Even though from that experience he horrified me, I hated him. I think every kid in my class hated him at that time, but he was one of the guys who showed that, you can evolve, a character, and you can dedicate yourself to, a persona, and to the point where grown men, really still believe that the Undertaker is some kind of supernatural, demigod of some sort, because, that's how dedicated he was to it. So seeing that dedication to his character and just how hard working he was, how he evolved with the time, that's what I always wanted to be. In anything that I did, whether it was basketball at the time, football, baseball, I wanted to be that guy that can just change and adapt with the time. So Taker, definitely one of my influences. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Psychosis, Shawn Michaels, Macho Man, Mr. Perfect. I'm a big Nick Bockwinkel guy, just because in my mind he was the smartest man in wrestling. Jake the Snake, Ted DiBiase, the list goes on and on and on. I could ramble for hours about who inspired me, but yeah, man, even though I'm not a second generation, third generation, fourth generation, even though my kids will be, I feel like this business has always been in my blood, and it just feels like it's part of me. That's why I do it, I guess.
Now, I know, and so we got to get to the training and stuff and where you trained at, because a lot of people don't know that, in my opinion, you probably had one of the greatest wrestling training classes of the past, 5-6 years, as far as guys who came from a small town and nobody knew about that area really, to where everybody is now.
Okay, I trained with CWF Mid-Atlantic. At the time, it was in Burlington, North Carolina. It's now in Gibsonville. And my training class initially with guys who started the day that I started was a guy named Ben Tyler, who used to tag team in a group called the Fun Athletic Guys with Trevor Lee. And another dude named, David, who went on to become Mecca Mercenary in CWS. He's still one of the staples there. Eric Royal, me and him actually went to my very first indie show in April of 2008. It was a Sumner Civitan show in Greensboro. And I was introduced to the Boogie Woogie Man, Rob McBride, and Kamikaze Kid, Lee Valiant, Marcellus King, who to me at that time was like the greatest thing I ever saw, like up close. I talked to Brass Monkey, as he was known at the time, Walter Eaton, and because I wanted to train. Like, just seeing that show, I didn't know anything about the indies. I was so, hooked on, Japanese, wrestling and, lucha, and I was watching old WCW, NWA stuff, so I didn't really consider the indies. I knew what they were, but I wouldn't watch it. I was one of those type of guys. But my training class, Ben Tyler, you got Mecca Mercenary. I was training with Trevor Lee. I was training with Andrew Everett. When I was coming up, Cedric Alexander was getting his start. Caleb Conley was, starting to, come up as well. And, so when you look at the guys that I was in the company of, even if you just want to throw Cedric's name out there, because he's definitely one who can make, the claim for being one of the best in the world today. Trevor Lee, same way. Andrew Everett, same thing. So I was always surrounded by guys who just astounded me. Even to this day, I watch just about everything Trevor, every match Trevor has, just because, back in the day, that was like my little brother. We were best friends. So I watch everything he does, and it still just shocks and awes me, like how far him and Cedric have come. And it's just that was the guys I came up with, and I was the less skilled out of everybody that I mentioned. Drew was flipping, and Trevor was like technically precise, and Cedric was doing all these athletic things, and Caleb Conley had the look, and then here I was, 130 pounds, Chris Benoit, Dynamite Kid wannabe, trying to do a snap suplex, but couldn't even deadlift 150, so it didn't really look all that convincing. But yeah. Hold
on. Let's backtrack that for a second, because I don't think a lot of people heard that. At the time when you started training, how much did you weigh again, Joe?
On a good day, I weighed about 128 pounds on a good day when I first started.
And now, how much do you weigh now?
Now I weigh 195 pounds, I believe. Closer to 200.
Exactly, man. And the reason why I say that is because this is all those guys who say, getting in the gym or working out and all that stuff doesn't matter. Because you're a living proof, you're a living example that getting into the gym, eating right, whatever you have to do can help you out in your career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of that, because when I started, I've always been innately intense. I'm just an intense dude. I'm intense when I write poetry. I'm intense when I play any kind of sports, when I lift, when I make love. Intensity fuels, the cells. That is Joe Black. But one of the things that my trainer, Jeff Rudd, told me was like, you have the intensity, you can cut a promo, that's cool. You're 130 pounds, none of that matters. We know what you can do because we see you grow, we see you evolve, we see how you change, but no one else is going to give you a shot, because as soon as your music hits, okay, there's Johnny Cash talking, that's cool. Then there's this big build up, the Black Cloud, Joe Black, that's a cool name. And then you come out and you're 5'6" black guy with an afro wearing pleather tribal shorts, and you're 125, 130 pounds. No one cares anymore. So that drove home the point that, hey, everybody that I looked up to, they looked like monsters. Benoit, as much as he, is language nowadays, he looked like a beast. Somebody posted something, Bob Evans shared it, and so I in turn shared it, that the thing about Dynamite Kid that helped him get over as much as he did was the fact that even though he was 5'6", 5'7", 220 pounds, he carried himself like he was the biggest badass in the ring, in the arena, in the world, to the point where people believed it. You got to the point where you saw Benoit work, you didn't focus on the fact that he was 5'8", 5'9", because to you, then he epitomized what you imagine the Wolverine to be. So I wanted to be that in the vein of, I know I can't grow a couple of inches in stature, but what I can do is put on a few pounds, and then maybe I can be taken more seriously. And so all those who think, he took a shortcut, blah, 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 he did this, he did that. What I did was, from 2008, being 125 pounds, I worked my ass off for the 8 years since I've been introduced to this business, to the point where now in 2016, I can say I'm 195 pounds and I'm still not happy. So there's no conceit. There's no shortcut for hard work. Hard work is hard work. But yeah, the gym is definitely important as far as, you ain't got to look like a bodybuilder, but at least have something that people can take away from, have some kind of look. And with me, I'm a short dude with gains, clearly, and I have funky hair and I wear a skirt when I wrestle. So there you go. Now you're going to remember Joe Black at least.
Now let's get to the persona, the black cloud, the hair, the battle scarf. Even though a lot of people are like, of course, I'm. And Kev, you got to be in the crowd sometimes when people look at Joe and they approach Joe and stuff and they call themselves heckling him. Because the first thing they do is they start questioning your manhood and stuff, man. But I know, and people who actually, are, in my opinion, are educated, they know the history of not only hair, but also, the battle scarf, and of course, even the Akuma beads that you wear. But please, tell our listeners, what's the whole meaning behind that?
As you said, it's the beads, of course, Japanese culture, those are meditation beads. And I got them from the Street Fighter character Akuma, who they are modeled after, even has his kanji for destruction, etched into the wood. For me, I've always been a solemn type of guy. I've always been to myself, and not arrogantly, but I'm extremely focused. When I go to a show, as soon as I walk through the door, hey, I have a job to do. I'm not really here to socialize. I already have my circle of friends. I'm not trying to make any more. I'm here because a booker saw something in me, and he wants me to bring my brand, my product, because in this game, you are your brand. You're a manufacturer, and you're having to manufacture something that you want people to buy into, that you want people to purchase, that you want people to invest in. You are your brand that you're trying to push. So when I go to a show, I know what the Joe Black brand is, and it's not cackling and he and joking around, and that's cool. Everything has a place, but when I walk into an arena, you can attest to this, Will, as well as your next guest in the next 25 minutes. But I'm just, tunnel vision. And the same thing with those beads, is they represent, stealing your soul against, the wilds and the raging of time around you. So it's kind of like a deep meditative state when I put them on. When I come out, I'm solemn. I don't come out screaming, hoopla and all that, flipping into the ring. Not that I can't, but because I don't feel the need to. I'm solemn all the way to the ring. The destruction kanji, pretty much, that speaks for itself if you ever wrestled me. The scarf, or the skirt, as most Southern fans call it, that is pretty much me flying my banner. That's me flying my flag. I'm Haitian. Haitian warriors will wear something similar to that, and I forgot what the Haitian term for it is, because it's so hard to pronounce. I'm not even going to try to. But they would use that to fly what their allegiances were. You had the Gereloa warriors who maybe represented the deity Baron Samedi. And if you watched, that popular James Bond flick where he at least played Goldeneye, you know who Baron Samedi is, the guy with the top hat, the skull face paint. He wasn't wearing any pants, and he had on a dress shirt. That's a popular voodoo deity. You had guys who were flying, the French flags, because there's a lot of French Creoles that come out here. So it was to let people know what your allegiance was, and also your lineage. There was guys who were royalty, in the Haitian, lineage, but they still fought wars, and they would fly their house colors right down their right leg. It's always been traditionally worn on the right side, so that's pretty much why I do that, and also it looks kind of cool. And as far as the hair is a mohawk, it's dreaded up, because I've never seen a black guy in wrestling have a dreaded mohawk. I'm sure there's one somewhere where he's a far cry from what I am. Because even if he has the dreaded mohawk and looks better than mine, I'm pretty sure his tattoos don't look better than mine. I'm sure he doesn't have more games than I do. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't wear a cool battle sash when he wrestles. But, you know, I try to construct an image in my head of how I want this guy, Joe Black, to look. And as of 2015, I think I finally perfected and executed properly what that image is. So I found what my brand was, a guy with a dreaded mohawk that wears a skirt when he wrestles, and a Kuma beads. You know, Kuma, the guy from Street Fighter that you had to, you know, put the controls in a certain way just to be able to select that shot of a purple Hadouken. You know, that's Joe Black. But, you know, everything, as you said, is an accessory to who I am as a person, I guess.
Now people look at you, and you're definitely different than the cookie cutter wrestler. You know, you're not 6 feet tall, you're not 300 pounds. Of course, you do have the bodybuilder look and stuff. So even though your look is very different, your style of wrestling, for anybody who has watched a Joe Black match, is eerily similar to I guess in politically correct circles, the wrestler who should not be named. But this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We do what we want to do. Your wrestling style is so similar to Chris Benoit and Dynamite Kid. Is that on purpose? Do you specifically go out there to have that same similar style? And what kind of feedback, positive or negative, do you get back from it?
Yes, it is indeed on purpose, and no one from all the podcasts that I've done has ever asked me that. It's more than me paying homage to the two guys who, for someone like me, were the most legit wrestlers in the world. To me, I mean, I know everybody has a different opinion, but to me, Dynamite Kid and Chris Benoit were the greatest wrestlers in the universe to me. So anytime I can do a snap suplex and kick my leg like Dynamite Kid did, anytime I can do the ugly, you know, because Chris Benoit had like such a beautiful swan dive of a diving headbutt. And if you watch any Dynamite Kid matches, his didn't look nearly as magnificent as Chris's. His was a little bit, you know, more, you know, I'm just going to jump and my goal is to headbutt you and knock you out. I don't care how it looks aesthetically. I'm just about the function, and that's how mine is. So anytime I can do my ugly diving headbutt, you know, as a homage, or, you know, the trifecta Germans. Sometimes if I'm wrestling Chip Day, I'll do 6, 7, 8, or 9 Germans in a row. Anytime that I can do a cripple crossface and build a match around me trying to lock in that hole, you know, a sharpshooter. I don't know if anybody listening to this show ever watched, you know, Puro as much as I did, but back in the early 90s, the Tombstone Power Driver was the setup for a dive. All the cruiserweights in Japan, for some reason, used the Tombstone Power Driver as a setup move. My favorite wrestler of all time, that is his coup de grace. Once Taker hits the Tombstone, it's lights out. When Shawn Michaels kicked out the first time, I about threw a beer bottle through my TV because I thought it was sacrilege. But back in the day, all the cruiserweights used that move. So when I use a Tombstone, it's not even so much towards Taker. I use it as an homage to Benoit, because Benoit used it a lot. The power bomb. One of my signature moves has become the left arm clothesline. I am not left-handed at all. Matter of fact, as intelligent as the poems I write with my right hand may seem, if I was to write anything with my left hand, you would think something is wrong with me. Like my esteemed colleague William Huckaby not being able to dial my number correctly. You would think the same about me. I'm not left-handed. I can't do anything left-handed. But when I remember I was working a match against Ben Tyler, and for some reason, my right arm was just completely shot. It was numb. I couldn't really do anything with it. I think I did a dive and I hit the ground the wrong way. So, you know, I shot Ben off and I said clothesline. I couldn't lift up my right to throw a clothesline, and I got angry about it. So I charged Ben and I threw the left arm clothesline and I hooked, because the way my side was I was so thrown off balance that if I would have did a regular clothesline with my left arm, I would have threw myself completely out of the ring. So I hit him and I hooked, and I got such a reaction from that. It amazed me. So now one of my staples is the left arm clothesline, and that is definitely an homage to Benoit and Dynamite Kid. And I've gotten some positive feedback from guys like Kerry Awful. You know, I've gotten positive feedback from guys like Chip, from you, you know, that, hey, man, you know, I like that you do that. You know, it makes sense. It fits your persona, your stature. But there's also been a couple of guys, you know, that, and I'm not going to call any names because I'm not trying to disparage them in any way, but hey, man, you don't really want to pattern your wrestling style after a guy who's accused of, murder, suicide, double homicide, suicide. You don't want to pattern yourself after a monster. You don't want to pattern yourself after someone that's been so demonized in the world of wrestling. He's become Voldemort. People are afraid to speak the name of Chris Benoit. They're afraid if you speak his name, you'll have a nightmare about him or something. Maybe in the nightmare, his music plays on loop. Or maybe for some godforsaken reason, you have to hear the insane clown posse version of Chris Benoit for like 40 minutes while you sleep. I don't know. Maybe it's stigmatized so much that it's ridiculous. And I have to tell these guys, of course, they're vets. So I'm going to let them have their say. And I'm going to take anything into account. Anybody can give you advice. Even sometimes wisdom is speaking from the lips of a fool if you, learn how to, delve into their words and not take everything at face value. So I listen, but I have to tell them it's not just so much about patterning myself after Benoit. It's, because Benoit patterned himself after Dynamite Kid completely. Mirror match. Of course, Benoit added his own things, and I did too, but it's an homage for the reason why I wrestle. When I started training, I was trying to be low key. I was trying to be Bryan Danielson. I was trying to be Punk. I was trying to be Bockwinkel. I was trying to be Shawn Michaels. I was trying to be Rey Mysterio, Kamikaze Kid, Lee Valiant, Walter Eaton. I didn't know who I was. Jeff was like, hey, go home and watch your favorite wrestlers. And take who you are and take some of your favorite wrestlers, put it in a pot, mix it all up together, put your face in it and see what you come out with. And I did that one night. That's when I went home, I watched Macho Man. I went home, I watched Benoit. I went home, I watched Taker. And then as funny as this is going to sound, I watched Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. And then I also watched The Dark Knight. And I was like, okay, the intensity of Benoit, check. The quirkiness and the silliness of Macho Man, check. The serious, he takes himself way too serious demeanor of Undertaker, check. Jack Sparrow, where does he fit into this? The Joker? Where does he fit into this? To everybody that may be wondering, and I know I'm pretty much Jack Sparrow in black flesh that hits like Chris Benoit. I've been described as this, and it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing funnier than when a little girl's like, Mommy, does he know Jack Sparrow? That's probably one of the funniest moments of 2016, in my opinion. I got ready to let you go in a little bit, but I got to ask one more question and stuff, because, you're really making a name as a singles wrestler. You've done the Young Lions Cup up north and stuff, and, of course, the Marvelous Pro Tryout, going out west and going out to Texas, and actually, I think they told us that was the first time that the junior heavyweight title for NWA at the time, which was the show was NWA Houston. That was the first time that the junior heavyweight title match was after intermission, and you and you actually got you and Rudy Russo actually main evented that show. You've done so much great stuff as a singles wrestler, and now me and you are in a tag team and stuff. So I've got to ask you, which do you prefer, and what's your take on both of them? If I could get kind of a short, quick answer, I guess you could say.
Tag team wrestler, I like tag team wrestling because it helps you unearth the dynamic between two people. Now you have to see how this guy can work as a unit. You can see how this guy's mind works as far as teamwork goes. You can see the different side of this guy. Especially tagging with someone like that I consider a brother, a mentor, someone who's helped me along, someone that I'm comfortable with. I love tag team wrestling because it's different. When I first came up, all I did was singles. So now that I'm in an established tag team that people actually know the name of, it's sort of gratifying because at first I wanted to be a tag team wrestler. Like I said, I wanted to be a British Bulldog, So it's cool. I like tag team wrestling, but I will always prefer to do singles because I could be a little bit more selfish. I don't have to be a team player. Well, as far as, sharing spots with big ass Huckaby doing 5 power bombs in a row, I can be a little bit more creative in my approach. I can write more poetry, by myself as opposed to waiting for Huckaby, who's Dr. Dre, to lay the beat while I'm Eminem or Ice Cube and I go in the booth. I just think, like, if I'm left to my own devices, let me create the beat, let me spit some lyrics on it, and it's going to be just as incredible as if Huck's behind the board and I'm in the booth waiting for him to lay down the beat. You know, so I don't really have a preference. I just want to wrestle. But if I had to choose between one or the other, I would choose singles competitor, because all my heroes were singles competitors when they immortalized themselves, so to speak. So, yeah.
Well, Joe, I got to thank you for coming on last second and stuff, man, and giving us such a terrific interview. Hopefully, you know, you've done so many other podcasts and stuff, and hopefully people will listen to this one and actually see a different side of Joe Black. Hopefully they'll realize that not only are you, you know, not only are you muscular and you have brawn, but you're also brain, right? You're very intelligent. Not to make it as an insult, but you're so freaking well spoken. You know, a lot of people don't realize that you're a student of Shakespeare and stuff, and that the name of our tag team, The Sound and the Fury, is actually based on a William Faulkner novel and stuff. But before I go, so people can follow you, so they can keep up with what the Killer Weight is doing, give us your social media. Let us know how people can keep in contact with you, how they can follow you, et cetera, et cetera.
On Facebook, you can find me at Joseph Black. You'll know me instantly when you see the profile picture. On Twitter, it's /BlackCloudJB, JB capitalized. I'm not entirely sure about Instagram. I don't really use it. But if you do, go looking for me. You know, Cloudy number, like, you know, if you watch Kids Next Door, number is an NUMBAH 9. And I think that's all the social media that I use. So, yeah, you know, hit me up, send me a line. I actually respond to everybody's messages as long as they make sense and they're coherent.
All right. Well, Joe, thanks for everybody who's listening and stuff. If you're anywhere, you know, in the Beckley, Princeton, Charleston, West Virginia area and stuff, make sure to come out this Saturday, WVCW, West Virginia Championship Wrestling. Two of my favorite guys in professional wrestling right now. Joe Black is taking on Jason. Joe Black, you're not taking on Jason yet, are you? Who are you facing this weekend?
Scotty Reigns. He's the former WVCW. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be Joe versus Scotty Reigns. That's going to be awesome because the winner is moving up to take on Jason Kincaid. Isn't that correct? Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. All right, well, thank you, Joe. I will catch you with you later, man. I'll probably talk to you after I get done on this podcast and stuff. Once again, thanks for being a guest on the show, man, all right?
Thank you for having me, Savvy.
All right. Kev.
What's up?
What's up, man? Hey, what do you think about my buddy Joe?
He is quite the talker.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the first time that we've ever actually had a Voldemort and Jack Sparrow reference on this show.
I think you may be right on that.
You know, Joe, like I say, he's so well spoken. He's so great at expressing himself and putting together thoughts and sentences and stuff. You know.